cut that later. Okay. Okay, Bluegrass Magic people. We thought we'd try something a little bit different today. And we have visiting us from the north. We have Cedric Phillips, Indiana State champion, and GerryT, who is a Grand Prix Denver current champion. And we thought we'd give them a top 10 question list.
Yes.
First question I wanted to put to you guys today was, when did you start playing, and what was the first competitive deck you can remember playing, Gerry? What was that first?
My first tournament was the Invasion pre-release, which I got a box and immediately cracked the packs.
Ooh, nice. No drafting back then?
No, God, no.
Okay.
First competitive deck, Psychotog, I guess, like, you know, around that time.
Did you have much success with it?
Yeah, I mean, like, locally, obviously. Went to Grand Prix in Milwaukee and did very well.
What was the first, do you remember what deck you had when you first broke into the top 8 of PT1?
It was during Invasion Block, and it was like red, white, blue, aggro, Lightning Angel, FTK.
Starts me with Slaughter, if you will.
Big fan of awful deck names.
I like that. I like that name, so I actually like that name a lot.
What about you, Cedric?
First deck I had any success with was Blastageddon. It was like a Blastoderm Armageddon deck that I played during the JSS. And yeah, I know, right? I'm ancient. And I had some success. I used to top 4 of the JSS a lot, but always lost to Max McGuffin. If anyone knows who that is, he's in jail now.
Yeah.
So couldn't beat that guy. But things are looking up now. So that was the first success.
Okay. Now you guys are good players, so how much play testing do you do?
Like for a tournament, like for this Grand Prix and for this PT, I play test primarily on Magic Online. I get a deck and just play a bunch of 4-man tournaments with it, and that's how I just get a feel for a deck. Because for me, I have to play a lot of games to figure out what cards are good and what cards are bad. So I just get in a queue. I do just got done with winter break, so 8-9 tournaments a day. Yeah, I just didn't do anything but play Magic Online and just got ready, and that's how I've been getting ready for Los Angeles. So I feel pretty well. I feel pretty well prepared.
I'm pretty much the same. Play a lot of Magic Online because all my friends are just living all over the country. So I talked to Luis Scott Vargas a lot. He's the primary person, and I test with my roommates John Pennick and Sean Banger.
Sure. Did you ever get the chance to play a test together?
Oh yeah, I mean, I lived next to Cedric for a while, when I was in Indy.
Yeah, he used to live an hour away from me, and we always talk online. We talk online every day about cards and stuff. So we're always theorizing and seeing what's good and what's bad and why it's good and why it's
Usually
bad.
what Cedric is playing is what's bad.
Yes, typically.
So I'm if Cedric's playing it, yeah, probably won't play
That's
that.
probably what you want to do. Today, for example, Affinity, not the best idea. Probably should have played Island instead.
Now the Pro Tour format this year has changed. It's mixed up with different formats played during a Pro Tour. So what would be your own speciality for the Pro Tour? Are you more constructed or more booster draft, sealed?
Alright, fine, we'll go.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
I like the change a little bit because it helps players who, like myself, are more well-rounded. I'm known for constructed or whatever, but I'm also decent at draft, but I'm not insane at one or the other. So I mean, I think that tournament is better for me, but it's also kind of weird because things like Worlds and Nationals used to be special because they were the only split format tournaments.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's just kind of now every tournament's like that, and now it might get kind of boring or whatever. And Worlds, you see decks that okay, this deck went 6-0, but you don't know if that's necessarily good or not because you don't know who they played against. Or if they were just dead in the tournament, they played against some guy who was 2-8 or whatever, and he beat that guy. Good for him. It doesn't really matter. It's the same thing for the PT. If they do draft day 1 and constructed day 2, I think they're doing that for 1.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you never really find out what decks are really good in the format, and especially when they're split formats. If some guy goes 6-2 or 5-3, but then crushes the draft, his deck makes top 8. You don't know if his deck is actually good or not.
Yeah.
So it's
like Jamie Parks.
Yeah, exactly. Jamie Park goes
2-3-1
with his 5-color deck, but that's probably the deck that people are net decking because he got second in Worlds.
Yeah.
So
The deck was real bad, folks.
yeah, I mean it's kind of the changes are kind of good, they're kind of bad.
Do you ever feel, Cedric, for any particular format, or maybe just enjoy one format more than another?
It just really depends what I'm in practice in. because like when the PTQ formats come around, like that's all I'll play for like the 3 or 4 months. So whatever, like that just sets for what I'm doing. Like with split format tournaments, I actually like them a lot. Like, the only split format tournament I've ever played in is Nationals, and I've only played it once and I got 9th place. Because like Gerry, I feel like I'm well rounded. I feel like I can play both formats, like at a pretty decent, at a pretty high level. So. I mean, I like split format tournaments. I guess I prefer doing booster draft because I do it a lot, like a ton when it's in season. That's all I'll do for like 2 months. So
until you get burnt out, pretty much.
Yeah, I just get tired of it. So I think booster draft I prefer.
Sure. If you have been playing today, Gerry, was there any particular deck we would play today? Do you think?
Well, there's Grand Prix next weekend, and I'll probably be playing like Mono Blue Fairies, or some splashes or whatever. So I would have played that today. I don't know if it would have been good or not, but. It's hard to say, like watching and being like, okay, I would have beaten that guy, but like I could have got paired against that guy or whatever, so.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. How about classic games you played? Who would you say was your toughest or most memorable match today, Gerry?
When I thought about that question, like one match came to mind, but it's not like the toughest or anything. It was like, this is like before I was like good or anything. I was playing for a top 8 in a Grand Prix in Columbus. Cedric made top 4 in the tournament.
Sure did.
And I'm playing against Craig Crimples, and I think I just have him crushed. Like I have him at 1, I have an unblockable guy, I have Disciple of the Vaults, and a Spell Bomb in play, but I had to like tap out to cast it. And I just think I'm crushing him. I'm at like 15, he has like 2 terrible creatures, and he's just like, if I draw him out, you're dead. I'm like, what? And then like my mind starts racing, like I just can't think about, I think about like every card in the format, like what could he possibly have? Like is he just messing with me? And he just like, flips it into play, it's a mountain, he casts Savage Beatdown with Entwine, which gives his Trampler double strike and he gets to attack with it twice, and then I went from 14 to dead real quick. So I mean, like that was a little unfortunate, but I don't know if that's the worst. I mean, I've had some ridiculous matches against like some Japanese people, like Masahiko Morita, like slow rolls me every chance he gets, he mind tricks me, he does everything.
Yeah.
He's the dude I can't beat ever.
Right.